Hey, welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to talk about pledge loans. Yes, we are going to talk about share secured loans. I've got a list of over 50, but I'm literally going to show you how to find hundreds. If you're into this, let's dive in. All right, welcome back. So yeah, pledge loans. If you remember back to 2021, 2022, it was all the rage. Everyone was talking about Navy Fed pledge loans, essentially, where you pledge up your money. You move your money into a CD or a certificate account, or in this case, a savings account, and then you pledge that up to a secured loan. And the beauty of the Navy Fed pledge loan is that as you paid it down, they would release the funds. Now, this always isn't the case, so you got to check bank by bank, but you know, I'm constantly asked this question all the time, like, hey, who else has, shared secured loans just like Navy Fed? And well, there's a few that we use in the community that I'll share with you, but I got thinking like I typically do. And I, went off the deep end and found all kinds of credit unions. I was pretty accurate in saying just about everybody offers one. They're very common. Yeah, I think if you were to really search all the results, like I'm going to show you, I think you'd find thousands. So anyways, that's kind of the history of it and what it is. The reason why people were getting the pledge loan back in the day is because if you were rebuilding your credit profile, or you didn't have, a ton of depth, or, 20-year-old mortgage on your credit profile, this seemed to help build internal data points with Navy Fed, which seemed to increase your internal score, which the internal score seems to help with improving your odds with getting credit with Navy Fed. That's tongue in cheek. If you've been following along with the Navy Fed stuff, you'll know what I'm talking about. But that's why that happened. Now, one thing I want to note here is that just about every bank is going to have some sort of basic tracking of what you're doing with them. They've got to know what accounts you've got opened. They might even be able to see balances. They might even be able to see history. All banks are going to have something like that. Now, whether or not they use an internal scoring mechanism like Navy Fed does, or they don't, I don't know. But we can assume safely that when they search out your name or your business entity, they're going to be able to see, what credit products that you've got. So anyways, just assume that, right? So the ones that I'm used to like telling everyone, hey, these offer pledge loans is obviously Navy Fed, but DCU has a shared secured loan as well. And it operates the same way where they release funds as you're paying it down. So you can open it up, pay it down 90, 95%, leave it open. So it's helping with your credit mix, which is 15% of the credit profile, because if you have no big installment loans, if you don't have a mortgage, if you don't have an auto loan, student loans, nothing like that, well, your credit profile looks thin from the sense that you're not showing good stewardship of like a larger amount of money, which is why mortgages look so good on a credit profile, even though to some that might not really make sense, because it's like, wait a second, why would they want to see me having a ton of debt? Because that's considered healthy, et cetera, right? And it shows that you're able to manage a larger amount of debt, right? So if we don't have those things, this is one of the options that we've got. Now, of course, you can go with Credit Strong or Self Inc. They've also got installment loan type things if you're a rebuilder. But I would argue that these are better because they're going to establish you a relationship with a bank that hopefully you want to bank with. That would be the big thing here. And then also too is they're going to give you all the benefits of the installment loan that a Self Inc. or Credit Strong would, but they're going to be releasing funds as I pay it down. And so we can open it up, pay it down, leave it open. So it's showing good credit mix. It's adding to my profile. Might see a boost in points up to 50 points, depending on how thin the profile is. Then we get our money back and we leave that open, and it helps us get more credit or whatever we're working on, right? So that would be some of the benefits there and how people are using that, right? Okay, so before we dive in to the list, which I've got over 50 that I'm gonna share with you, a few broad strokes to getting started here. You want a shared secured loan that releases funds back to you as you pay it down, because you wanna mimic the Navy Fed pledge loan. So I'm not sure on every single one I'm gonna show you if it does or not. That's up to you to research. And this, I feel like is something that's constantly changing, as well as a lot of other data points. So I can't go through this and vet every single one for you. Great thing, thankfully, we have an amazing community where a ton of people are going to be commenting, chiming in the comments, letting us know which ones do, which ones don't. And then, obviously, as we start to curate this data, we'll update this list and publish it for you. So you want to make sure that it acts like the Navy Fed pledge loan if you're trying to use it this way, because that's an easy way to, it's like trickle down economics to yourself. Because let's say I go out and get a personal loan, and then I put all that into a pledge loan with Navy Fed, and then I pay it off and pull the money back out and then pay down a bunch of credit cards. Oh my God, now I'm in position to go out and get more credit. This is actually a 4-step play that we outlined before. I think it was in 2022, maybe. When I did it myself, I did it to show you guys. Really easy play, right? And so getting creative like this is what you have to do in some cases, right? To thin out utilization, to make DTI look better, to whatever, get yourself into position for an app freeze. So anyways, that's the first one. Next one. These will report as installment loans on your credit report, which if you're rebuilding does help with credit mix. As I just said, they tend to pull the money from your savings account or a CD account. So you want to deposit the money that you want to use as the pledge to collateralize the loan. You want to use that and put that into the savings account, okay? Navy Fed on the phone uses languaging that makes it sound like they're going to run a credit check or that you could be denied for this loan product. While it is true where they're saying that you're applying for this and it is deemed as a loan product, I've never heard of anyone getting denied for a Navy Fed pledge loan. And I would assume that as long as you're in good graces with Navy Fed and you haven't burned them in a bankruptcy in the past and you still have open membership, you should be good to go. And this is probably going to be true for most other banks. Again, just keep in mind that on the phone and the kind of languaging that they use makes it sound like they're going to pull credit and that it's going to be just like getting a credit card. It's usually not, but just take that as a grain of salt, okay? The goal with these are to open them up and pay them down 90 to 95% immediately and then get the capital back, leaving open the installment loan that doesn't have a future payment for a year plus. And it's gonna be a small future payment as well. So that's another benefit to this, right? So the interest rate or the APR, yes, we wanna be mindful of that. We don't want it to be super high, but the way that we're trying to use these tools, usually that doesn't really matter because we're paying the whole thing off in most of it in short order anyways. So APRs range on these vehicles from like 2 to 6%. 6% was on the high side. Regions Bank actually offers some sort of vehicle here, which we'll get into in just a second. And they were on the high side of 6%. And Navy Fed, I believe the last time I checked, they were 2%. So that's about your range, okay? And lastly, it goes without saying, but yes, you wanna be making the payments on these. They are an established loan product. They are going to be reporting to the credit bureaus every single month, and they will report it late if you don't make a payment. So it could be easy for you to get like all lost up in this if you pay a bunch down and then you kind of forget when that next date is. The good thing with somewhere like Navy Fed is that it's showing up in your dashboard. So when you first log in, it shows all your active accounts. Well, this shows up as an account there, so it'll tell you when the next payment date is. That's an easy way to track this. But if your banking dashboard doesn't look like that, you're gonna have to set some reminders, Google alerts, whatever you wanna do there to make sure that you're paying it. All right, all that being said, let's dive into the list. Here's what I did. If you can see my screen, I just jumped over to credit unions offering share secured loans. That's what this is called. And look at this. And I have a list up to, where did I stop at? I stopped at industrial. Oh, that was after that. So I stopped at, what was it? Chevron or Service? Yep, we got Pasadena, we got that one, Popa, IU. Okay, I stopped right First Tech. Yeah, there it is, because I clicked on it. So from here down, I did not do. So here's another, 10, 15? Space, Workman's, Intera, Vantage, Trust, FCU. Some of these banks I've never even heard of. Credit One, we did have on the list, Georgia. Look at this. It goes down and 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 down. Holy cow, we're just now getting to like ranked Forbes articles, Credit Karma, and Reddit down here at the bottom. Let's click on more results. Now we're getting into like, these are trying to fight for rankings, but they're literally the bank pages that are ranking. Now we get back into credit unions. Here we go, boom, 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 boom. Look at this. I mean, tons of them. So you're not gonna have any problem finding these. I'm sure if we were to total it up, tally it all up, I'm sure there's thousands of credit unions that offer this. Here's the list I got. So obviously Navy Fed, DCU, we have people that have done that specifically, operates the same exact way in an Apple FCU. Other ones, before we get into the rest, Regions Bank, like I said, does have a deposit secured loan that's based on your Regions savings or a money market account. It doesn't sound like this is the kind of product you want to use. I guess if you wanted to set up a relationship with Regions Bank, which, I mean, why would you? They only operate, I think, in 11 states. They are a national sized bank, but I don't know, it's your thing, but I personally would not even bother with something like this. My whole angle is, first off, I believe that 2024 and beyond is gonna be great years for credit unions. I think it's gonna be more so, big banks are gonna be tightening up and trying to level out their books, their unrealized losses, which they're all sitting on huge amounts. Bank of America, I think, is sitting on over 300 million alone in unrealized losses, or maybe it's billions, I'm not sure. And so most big banks have a ton of toxic debt that is sitting on the books. They're gonna be more conservative, they're gonna be tighter during these times. We're already hearing a ton of stories about people cutting. Credit unions is the play for this year and even next year until really rates start getting cut and staying there and we see the bounce back in the economy. Will that change? But we're going into an election year, so I don't really see that changing. All that said, I would focus on credit unions. So those aside, we got Visions, First United, we got Members First Credit Union, Philadelphia Federal Credit Union, Members Choice Credit Union, America First Credit Union, and then Emerald Credit Union. This is the first one that we're gonna take a little side tour, and I'm gonna show you this bank because it is ridiculously small, okay? So let me show you this really quick. All right, Emerald. So here's the deal with this one. This is a very small bank. So I started looking around here and I'm like, okay, cool, 1.99% APR for 12 months, looks good. This website though is like, this is it? You know, no tabs or nothing, no like kind of fancy, anything done on the website. This is kind of looking like a small bank. So let's take a look. Then I come over here to deposit accounts and I'm like, oh brother, okay, this makes sense now. It is 2807, so the 2,807th largest credit union in the nation according to depositaccounts.com. But here's the deal. There was like 5,400 credit unions-ish, and that was before COVID. And then we lost at least 1,000. Some are estimating even more. So let's call it like 3,500 to be safe. This is dang near the bottom of the barrel, and it has to be. They only have 13 employees and 4,133 members, which is crazy. And they've got a C+ rating, and they've only got $35 million in assets. That's like one woke mistake away from completely going bankrupt, completely gone, right? And if we compare that to like Navy Fed that has 17 billion in assets, huge difference. That said, like maybe this could be a low-key hidden gem and none of us even know it, right? The good news is that, you only got to become friends with a few people that underwrite probably most of the loan products at the bank. And after that's done, well, maybe they'll go to bat for you more so than somebody else would because there's so few employees. But that I thought was interesting. So again, you got to watch this list because some of these are like super small niched banks. And this is only for those who live or worship in Ohio, this county in Ohio, which I'm not even gonna try and pronounce that. Another interesting thing, I was digging around on the FAQ and they've got like this whole PDF of like all the FAQs for all their products, because obviously I was looking for the secured loan product. And I did find this instead, is that they've only got one credit card and it's the Platinum Visa, and limits are $250 to $20,000. That's about all I found. They didn't really say anything else in terms of data on the loan. Because again, in the beginning, I'm like looking at all these pages and I'm trying to figure out like, are they actually a pledge loan equivalent or not? And I was gonna try and go through one by one and then I kind of just gave up. Okay, so hopefully you guys in the comments can help me. All right, so that was Emerald. Then we got Altura, which I'm on right now. We got Velocity Credit Union, Pasadena Federal Credit Union, that's in California. And then the next one, I can't even pronounce this one either. It is Waikiki. Let's just call it Waikiki, even though that's not it. Okay, it's this one right here. Wailuku Federal Credit Union. Don't know. Popa, IU, Credit Union, Corporate America Family Credit Union, First Tech. Yes, the First Tech that you guys all know of. It's right here. So one of the things I love about First Tech is that they've got such a wide range of secured collateralized loans and different products, lines of credit, etc. Like if we scroll down and look, obviously, yes, they got personal loans, personal lines of credit, but then they've got stock secured loans and secured lines of credit, which like these aren't bad. I recently heard of somebody who is doing this. And so they've got like, I don't know, let's call it 2-3 million in the stock market. It's a long-term play, and they know that even though it might go down now, that they don't care, and long-term they're holding this position. So I don't know if they took out a line of credit, and I have no clue what the rate was, the APR, but they did this. And so I actually think that, I don't think 14% is a great rate, but I think overall this idea could be pretty positive and could be a good thing that you could leverage on something that you're gonna hold on to anyways, don't really care what happens with it over the next 20 years, but wanna pull a little capital back out and be able to use that to do something else with. So yeah, they've got plenty of options, and this is the one we're looking at here, so 500 to 500,000 on that. Side note, we did a video highlighting somebody who did a $200,000 pledge loan, and it turned out to be true, and they did do it, and it helped them significantly. So they had no big mortgage on their report, and again, they couldn't come up with enough installments to make them look good. They were trying to go after something, I can't remember now. We've got a video on the channel so you could get all the details if you wanted it, but it did end up helping them substantially. They did a $200,000 pledge loan through Navy Fed and then paid it all down, and it worked. Their score went up, and then they were able to get in position for what they were trying to do, this bigger play. So First Tech is a great bank overall. So anyway, let's continue. Credit Union 1, then we got Chevron Federal Credit Union, Service Credit Union. We've brought up these guys before. So again, I went to their page. This is the whole page right here. So it's like, come on, like, it's gonna take me forever to actually vet every single one of these. So we're gonna crowdsource it. And then Affinity Plus Federal Credit Union and Industrial Federal Credit Union. Industrial Federal Credit Union, I did get some intel on. I was able to find it publicly, and there's no credit check. Like I said, some of these might actually be a credit check. I doubt it, but they actually said no credit check. And then also too, that the money will be frozen until you pay off 100% of the loan. So that's not what we're looking for, unless you're trying to build a relationship with Industrial. But yeah, you just wanna make sure. And my suggestion is if you see a credit union you like that you're already trying to, look towards building a relationship with, then give them a call and just ask them, right? So anyways, there are tons more that we didn't cover. So again, all I did was search credit unions offering share secured loans. You could probably play around with the syntax of that with your Google search and find even more. My assumption is that there's probably hundreds, if not thousands, that offer some sort of loan like that. Now, out of that, there's gotta be a handful that will mimic 100% the same way that Navy Fed pledge loan or DCU pledge loan would do. So anyways, I'm hoping that we can kind of crowdsource this in the comments below. That's it for this video. Thank you so much for watching. If you like this sort of thing and you want to help us grow, watch more videos on the channel. It really is that simple. Share this with friends, share it in your Facebook groups, watch it on different devices. We've got over 400 videos now in the library, and there are people who've gone out and gotten hundreds of thousands of dollars in credit funding off of our free videos. Do what they did. Do the same thing. If you like this sort of thing, subscribe, stick around. Thank you so much for watching. We'll catch you in the next one.
Wild monkey!